Time is a precious commodity that every one of us takes for granted. Time is something we never truly appreciate until it's already gone. Time is a really cheesy way to start off this video, I'm sorry. I know like 10% of you are on the toilet right now just looking for a way to pass time while you poop. And another 20% of you are probably having lunch when I said that line. Frieren is one of the most popular anime currently airing and is on most people's shortlist for one of the best shows that started airing last year. The story of a functionally immortal elf girl who truly regretted the time she didn't cherish with the people she was with and has to come to terms with what the passage of time means for her. And it's this emotional crux that almost every video I've seen talking about the show hones in on.
Even though someone like her possesses more time than any of us will ever come close to having, it can pass her by just as quickly if she's not careful about it.
Myself maybe included. But as the series has gone on and I've gotten to experience more of the story, past even what I had initially read in the manga, I really think this just scratches the surface of what Frieren has to offer and the tale it is evolving into. That alone would not have been enough to keep its throne as the top-rated anime of all time for so long. That alone would not have been enough to start its own cultural phenomenon here in Japan. That alone would not have taken one of the most poignant, emotional series to come out in years and had every single aspect of it looted by so many goddamn talented fan artists. Jesus Christ, I thought this was meant to be an emotional show! That was not a complaint. I don't think I fully did the series justice in the video I made 2 years ago, so I wanted to revisit Frieren, cause now that the anime is coming to an end, I've seen it evolve from a series with a unique concept and a hard-hitting beginning to an all-around masterclass in the fantasy genre that seems to be doing just about everything. A proper old-school fantasy adventure, lessons that hit deep, emotional moments, romance, the bloody tuning exams. This show is doing it all, tying it all back to that one thing: time. Because it is time to talk about today's sponsor, Ex Astris, which is currently ranked one of the most purchased games in the Apple and Google Play Store in NA and other regions. Ex Astris isn't a gacha game, but rather a buy-to-play, real-time, turn-based hybrid 3D RPG set on a Lindo, a planet split into two distinct hemispheres by massive storms. Take on the role of Yan and work together around the world alongside Veeth with her cute companion Min on a variety of missions. You are free to explore Lindo at your leisure, collect memories, encounter diverse cultures, and unravel the mysteries of the planet's long-lost civilization while trying to uncover the truth behind the astromorphs that inhabit this alien planet. I just love how fluid the combat is here, going for a blend of turn-based gameplay and fast-paced action. You can make a team of up to 3 characters that you can swap between and thus open up even more doors for more skills with multiple combinations at your fingertips. But while all that is fun, nothing feels better than using the innovative Obscuran maneuver to time and execute a perfect counter. But that's not all. To celebrate the global launch, there is currently an Ex Astris and Arknights crossover event, full of fun surprises and exclusive in-game cosmetics that you can check out right now by looking at the official events page. You can also use your account to log into the game to get permanent access to the crossover attire, loose uniform, and light uniform. Meanwhile, if you're an Arknights player, you can head to the same event page to claim their furniture rewards. All you need is a one-time purchase of Ex Astris to enjoy the entire game and all its content without any additional cost. So, what are you waiting for? Click that link in the description to get Ex Astris today on the Apple or Google Play Store. Let's get back to Frieren. Coming into the Frieren anime, I already knew how hard the beginning episodes were going to hit from my experience with the manga. It gave us an interesting perspective of how time moves through the eyes of a long life being and hit like a truck looking for its next isekai protagonist. But the big, humongous Frieren burger-sized question mark was, where do we go from here? Having the story start at the end of another story is a cool idea, but how do you make that interesting in the long run? I've seen plenty of series that have presented this really cool concept, said what it needed to in the opening episodes, and then failed to capture the emotional peak we saw at the beginning, which caused me to make sweeping statements like, I don't think it's the best show of all time. No. I don't even think it's the best show of the year. I would argue that it might not even be the best show of the season. Now, long-term viewers of this channel will know that I am never wrong, except when I am absolutely wrong. So let's break down just how wrong I was. Frieren's opening was so strong that it had the Vinland Saga effect on me, where the prologue was so good in its own bubble I forgot that was what it was meant to be. A prologue. A story that gives us the introductory baseline for the real oversized meat plate of the story to come. What the fuck is up with all these characters eating comically large portions of food? But the question remains, where do you take a story that takes place in a world where the main story has already ended? There's this one masterclass where Aaron Sorkin, the writer of A Few Good Men, Social Network, West Wing, talks about
intention and obstacle.
Characters need an intention, a goal they have to achieve that can't just be a small want, but a strong need. We need to defeat the Demon Lord or the world will end. I need to invent the nuclear bomb or the Soviets will do it first and the world will end. I need to find a girlfriend before the year ends or I won't have anyone to go to prom with. and the world will end. The stronger the need for this intention, the better, and to counteract that, you have the obstacle, the thing that prevents the character from achieving what they need to. An impossibly powerful final villain, a time limit to build something that's never been built before, a man that has infinitely negative riz. The harder that obstacle is to overcome, the more compelling that journey will be. Break down a lot of TV series and movies to its basic core components and you'll probably see this framework in action. Watching Frieren made me realize that barely any of this applies to her journey. She has a vague intention, retracing her old steps to reach this mythical place that may or may not exist so she can say goodbye to her old party, but it's not something she needs to do. The world's not going to end if she doesn't, and she can still go about her life if she fails. There are some obstacles, a snowstorm that stops their travel for a month, a qualification she doesn't have in order to pass to a new area, but it's never something you think she can't overcome, and what that means is that instead of obstacles on the journey, you have stops. A lot of stops. It's not even a journey anymore, it's a fucking London bus route. If you've ever watched a show and felt like the pacing was off, or what you're watching feels like, for lack of a better term, filler, most of the time it's probably because the series has spent too much time on a detour that deals with a certain obstacle or something and not progressing towards that final intentional goal. But by omitting any goal that feels immediately urgent, Frieren makes it all about those detours. Some episodes can feel like they can take an hour, and some feel like they can take 5 minutes, and I mean this in the best of way because it always engages you in a different way. You never question whether you're spending too much or too little time in a certain place or a certain side story, and it allows you to just get fully absorbed in the moment. And it's in the moment that the show wants to keep you. This show is all about living in the present, appreciating the time as it is now instead of regretting the past or being blinded by the future. And what drives this message home so strongly is the characters. Frieren's whole spiel is that she's this long-living elf that doesn't really care about what's going on because whatever happens will have a minuscule effect on her overall life, but strip that all away and you just have a girl that is disconnected from the world around her. The way she acts is reminiscent to the character trope I probably despise the most in anime. The kudere. You've seen the ones. It's the characters that talk like this. Hello, what are feelings? These are confusing to me because I have the personality of wet cement. I'm sure there are a lot of you out there that can relate in some way of having a calm personality that gets perceived as being stoic, but all too often, instead of feeling like a human, these characters feel like an android devoid of all emotions. Fuck, a lot of kuderes are literally androids devoid of all emotions. And as someone who's introverted and is perceived by a lot of my friends as someone who stays calm.
Wait, so... What? What?
Most of the time, there is nothing I can attach to with these characters. The difference with Frieren is that she clearly has emotions. She gets happy, annoyed, sad, and regretful in her own way. She's not emotionless, she's just emotionally distant, which makes absolute sense for the lifespan she has. It's not about her learning what emotions are and feeling things for the first time. It's about her learning why it's important to value those moments when you do, and being more mindful about the emotions the people around you have. And you don't need to be some immortal elf god to be able to relate to that. One of the early scenes that really hit me was when Frieren had a flashback of her party devastated they'd missed this sunrise, and she's like, why the hell do you all care? It's just a bloody sunrise. But then, decades later, she has the opportunity to experience that same sunrise with Fern, who miraculously somehow was able to drag her out of bed to see what all the hubbub was about. And then they do. And it's beautiful. And Frieren's still like, yeah, it's just a fucking sunrise, innit? But then she finds herself enjoying the experience. Not because she suddenly got some newfound appreciation of this sunrise, but because she got to share the moment with the people around her that do. And oh, god damn if this isn't so real. The amount of times I've gone and done something I never would have myself because I've had some mates fucking drag me out when I'd rather be doing nothing but staying inside playing some dumbass video games. And then it turns out that it's these moments that we still talk about and remember fondly when we hang out. Hey, remember that time when we decided to go camping and there was a thunderstorm and it was wet and everyone was fucking miserable, and then Russell ripped the fattest fucking fart of his life that overpowered the sound of the thunder and I swear to god reverberated the entire bloody tent? That was some cool memory shit right there. But beyond Frieren, you also have Fern and Stark, two people who are not impossibly old like Frieren is, but still have their own troubles, dealing with human emotions for the opposite reason. because they're the fucking Zoomers of the world, or whatever that equivalent is. You can tell they lack emotional maturity in dealing with other people. Like, for example, instead of communicating her anger and frustrations in a healthy way, Fern just bottles it all up and leaves everyone else to figure out what's bothering her, which she expresses in the most adorable bloody pout face possible. Alright, I'm just saying, if I was there, I'd definitely make the situation 10 times worse, because I just want to look at her puffy little cheeks and go, booga booga booga, is someone mad today? Yeah, maybe I'm even less mature than they are. But it's in that process of emotionally maturing that we get one of the best romance subplots I've seen in a very long time. I did not get into this type of show for any kind of romance, nor did I expect it to have one, as much as the fan was telling me otherwise, and I just want to gush about it a bit. When I see romance in anime, especially if it's some kind of romance subplot in a wider story, I often feel like it was just an afterthought, and a lot of times can feel really clunky and inorganic. Characters will go about their business for like dozens of episodes with no indication there's any romantic feelings, sometimes having negative chemistry, for the series to suddenly sprinkle in this random scene that the girl realizes she has feelings for the protagonist, and it doesn't seem like that friendship kind of feeling, but the feeling she might just want him to canoodle that poodle, if you know what I'm saying. And I'm sitting there being like, alright, I guess it makes sense? It's reasons like this that a fan base can have debates and arguments on who they ship with who, what two people they want to end up together, because in reality, any of these couples could work because the story has not done the groundwork to properly set any of them up.
They're all equally shit.
But Frieren manages to weave this blossoming relationship into its storyline that feels so natural. Right from the beginning, you can see that there are no mutual feelings. In fact, the two struggle with understanding each other while they are adventuring. But as they spend more time together, you can see them slowly but surely start to understand, accept their small quirks, get comfortable around the other person, and most importantly, actually have banter and some chemistry with one another. Like everything else it does, the series actually takes its time to lay the crumbs down and let you see their relationship develop, leading to this dance scene that had me screaming like a 15-year-old girl who's about to publish her first Wattpad fanfiction. Through nothing but pure visual storytelling and micro-expressions, you can see the exact moment Fern's view towards Stark shifts from a companion to a crush. The way her facial expression changes from nervousness to comfort to finally happiness. You don't need 2 pages of internal dialogue to spell out exactly what she was feeling. This is the kind of shit you normally only get to see conveyed in a live action film with real actors, and it's executed so goddamn beautifully. No matter what Frieren tries, this show just does not seem to miss. Did I mention how hard the series goes in its action? Doesn't even need good action. Right now, we're going through a bloody tune-in exam arc, and when that got introduced, I was like, huh, is that the right vibe to go for here? And yet, even in this action-intensive arc, it never feels like it forgets its identity. Even with all these new characters being added, it feels like they all have something distinctive to say that ties back to the learning experience our party is going through. There is so much more I could talk about. The world building, the magic system, Evan Cole's godly soundtrack, the absolute coldest moment we got to see last year, but what I want to end this on is Himmel, who is aptly named, because he is just him. Even though his character essentially only exists in flashbacks outside of the beginning, you can feel his influence in every action that Frieren takes, every lesson she learns, every time she grows as a character. And I think what makes him such a great character is that he just feels like a dude. Himmel epitomizes what a true hero should be. Not because he saved the world or defeated the Demon Lord, he's just a guy who tries his best to leave a positive influence wherever he goes. He's the friend we all want, the role model we want to be. He's charming, he's charismatic. He is the embodiment of everything the story tries to remind you of. I don't think it's a coincidence. This story has hit so hard for so many of us and become the mega hit that it has. This came out in a time when I don't think we've ever been more connected, yet distant to the people around us. We're so overstimulated day to day, constantly being barraged with informations and things you should care about. It sometimes feels like you don't want to care about anything, or at least you're exhausted about doing so. So seeing someone as emotionally distant as Frieren learning to appreciate and understand the people around her is such a powerful reminder of what we should be valuing in our own lives. Frieren doesn't preach anything we don't already know. It's about the journey, not the destination. You shouldn't take for granted the time you're given. We've heard these so many times in our lives that they can turn into cliches in our heads and forget how true and valuable these lessons are. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that video. Thank you very much this month to Author Curtis Eckstein, Basil, Dysfunctional Degenerate, Flabberwocky, Jonathick, Mike808, Misaka12315, Payne Patchett, Pony Stark, Shouting Zombie, Waltergeist VT, and everyone else on my Patreon for helping support me for this month. You know, I wasn't planning on making another Frieren video, but god damn, man. This series just keeps getting better and better, and I'm excited and hoping that there is going to be a Season 2 announcement on the horizon, and Season 2 is going to go just as hard as Season 1 is going right now. But in general, we are just getting spoiled in terms of fantasy anime this year, man. This is the year where anime elves are making a comeback, baby. Anyway, though, that's it from me today. No further updates. I've been Gigguk, and I'll see you all next time.